Time now for weather with Nebraska Extension Ag Climatologist and Market Journal Chief Meteorologist Al Dutcher. Al, hope your July is off to a great start. What are you tracking in this week's forecast?
Well, Troy, here we are going up onto the 4th of July, entering the month of July, of course, and we could turn our attention to basically the health of the crops. We've had some decent rains across portions of the state, but we're being challenged in other areas of the state, particularly in portions of the Panhandle and extreme northeastern Nebraska that's been lying just to the north, unfortunately, of some of the better precipitation. That being said, it does look like more of a general summer pattern as is shaping up over this next week. There are chances of precipitation in here, not overwhelmingly great chances, but there are some chances for some precipitation. And then we start to deal with an increasing warmth as we go through the week, as we see that high pressure that was dominant over western United States start to try to push its way into the plains region. The biggest question going forward will be how long will that heat last, and will we see a breakdown of that heat like we've seen recently as we've seen troughing actually move into the northern plains. So as we go to the upper air models, we'll show you that basically we have high pressure firmly in control, a weak trough moving across the plains that might generate some isolated thunderstorms, and then of course the low pressure system that's over the northeastern United States. So surface high pressure seen over southeastern Missouri is going to a clockwise flow around the high pressure, bringing moisture up the low levels from the Gulf. But because we have a frontal boundary along the Gulf, most of that's being intercepted by that frontal boundary and not allowing the moisture to get up. Now as we get into 4th of July, we'll see that trough start to make its way toward the east-southeast. Low pressure at the surface of the Texas Panhandle may actually be able to pump some moisture up, particularly in western Nebraska. We may see some isolated thunderstorm activity, although I don't think it's going to be widespread, so it's probably not going to be a washout for the 4th of July. And as we get into Monday, that trough starts to deepen somewhat over the Great Lakes and expand, and high pressure over the southern plains. Low pressure over the southwestern region of Texas will generate pretty good thunderstorm activity, and we might start seeing some convection developing isolated up in the northern plains as this trough starts to deepen as it moves toward the southeast. Low pressure on Tuesday will be situated up in northeastern Montana, and high pressure basically over south central Colorado. That should allow some precipitation to break out. I don't know if this is exactly going to be point on what the forecast is, but it does show thunderstorm activity. And on Wednesday, that trough starts to move toward the southeast, so most of the precipitation that was over the central part of the state, if it is going to form, is going to move over into southeastern Nebraska. This kind of shows up with the radar depiction of what we think will happen on Wednesday morning. Now, as we get into Thursday, we start to see the bigger warm-up. High pressure starts to dominate the southwestern desert region and builds up into the central Rockies. There is low pressure that's indicated, at least by the GFS model, to develop over south central Kansas. But most of the precipitation will remain well east and the warmer, right ahead of the warm front that'll be pushing through. And then on Friday, we see this high pressure expand even farther. So western Nebraska is probably going to be looking at more into the mid to upper 90s, lower to mid 90s across the east. And we should start to see some humidity start to increase somewhat. But a lot of that moisture will be intercepted as we get around the Gulf Coast where we've been persistently wet. 8 to 14-day forecast indicates that high pressure system will try to shift toward the north from where its position is forecasted, bringing above normal temperature to all the northern and most of the central plains. And in terms of precipitation, with that high pressure in place, below normal moisture over the northern Rockies, we'll wait to see whether the next trough that's indicated to come out late next weekend will start to break this down. But overall, it looks like hot, moist weather over the next few days.